Hey friends, welcome to the Entrusted to Lead podcast. I'm Danita Cummins, and today we're talking about productivity. I know it can be considered boring, but as a systems thinker and as a consultant, I see great value in being intentional about our time and our processes because clarity is the foundation for success no matter what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, so today I'm going to share with you my 5 favorite tools for organizational growth, project management, and productivity. Go ahead, grab your cup of coffee and a pen because it's definitely going to be a full episode, and let's get started.
Doing things alone is entirely overrated. We all need a community to thrive. And that's why I'm part of an online community of writers and speakers, podcasters, and entrepreneurs called Creatives. And I love it. In the years since I joined this community, I've launched new ideas and I finally executed the dreams that sat on the shelf for years. Seriously. And I was able to do this because of the outstanding group of mentors, exceptional training, and encouraging mastermind groups with my new friends who did and continue to give me invaluable feedback. Oh, and not to mention all the fun, because we have had lots and lots of fun. Have you ever said, I want to write a book? Or do you want to use your voice for the exciting world of podcasting? If so, Called Creatives is your best resource for up-to-the-minute industry training, expert advice, live coaching, and peer support like no other. Best-selling authors and speakers Allie Worthington and Lisa Whittle lead this community with a no-competition mission, and it shows. So join my friends and I in the Called Creative community. Head to my show notes, danitacummins.com/podcast, and click the link to get all the details to join. I promise you won't regret it. I look forward to seeing you in the community and watching you grow.
Productivity is something we each desire, but we aren't always sure how to define it, achieve it, or measure it. In his book, Measure What Matters, John Doerr teaches how Google, Bono, and the Gates Foundation, quote, rock the world with OKRs. For those of you who might not know what OKRs are, it's objectives and key results. And there's been a lot written on them, like how to set them up and the value that they provide for organizational leaders to measure success. So we're not going to get into all that today. But I do want you to consider them as we walk through this productivity session today. Okay, great. So if I were to ask you, what does productivity mean to you? Could you define it for you, for your personal family, or for your organization? Or better yet, if I asked you, how could you be more productive in your day? Would you have an answer? Maybe, but probably not. When we consider goal setting or measuring success, we often consider that something needs to change, or that we need to adjust our schedules to accomplish more so that we can get all of the little tasks done on our to-do list. And if that's you, you're in good company. But let me offer you a little bit of grace. In his book, Redeeming Your Time, Jordan Rayner tells us that we are never going to finish our to-do list. It's just not going to happen. You will pass away with things on your to-do list. So if God already knows that you're not going to get everything done in your life, what is the point, right? If we were just to ask that. If we visit the last podcast that we just did about stewardship and about being intentional, then we remember how important it is to create margin to make space for the things that truly matter, right? But in order to create margin, you have to be productive. So the two go hand in hand. Webster defines productivity as doing or achieving a lot or working hard and getting good results. So I'm not going to tell you what a lot or good results are for you. That's for you to decide. But I am going to break down the 5 tools that I use to be productive. These aren't just tools that I use with my business or my nonprofit. I use them in a variety of different roles. And so if you're not a CEO or a solo entrepreneur listening to this episode today, I want you to stay with me because I'm confident that they will help you get more organization or clarity in your year. I promise. Okay. And the question is, why do we need clarity? Right? So if I can get super personal for just a minute, I balance, I don't know about balance, but I juggle a lot of things. I'm a consultant and a coach. So I work with clients who work in the defense technology space. I design strategic and organizational growth plans for them, for businesses, for nonprofits, and even for faith organizations who want to scale. I design strategic plans and growth models for businesses and nonprofits and faith organizations who want to scale. I also lead a ministry, which requires 10 or more hours a week of my time. I have a podcast and I write and I speak, and it is very important to me to prioritize time with my family and my own self-care, right? Back to being intentional. The only way I can do these things is to have efficient systems and processes. It's the only way. And I'm by no means telling you that this is how you should define success, okay? I'm actually, if I were to be honest, I would tell you the opposite because I'm constantly taking things off of my plate and my husband is constantly trying to help me as a recovering doer of all the things. But today, I want to show you my behind the scenes kind of systematic approach, how I organize my time and information in a way that allows me and my team to scale and be successful. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. And this is why I think that it matters. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about big strategy, and then we're going to move our way down tactical and practical tips. Okay? Big picture to little picture. A side note before we start. I'm not an affiliate with any of these software tools. I probably should be. Consider that in the future. But today, I'm just sharing my behind the scenes look so that you can hopefully glean some tips to help you be more productive, to get more time back in your schedule, and to remove some of the anxiety that you might feel about not being able to get as many things done. Okay? And I'll make sure all the links are in the show notes so you can check those out. But again, I'm not affiliated with them. A second word of advice. There are free versions for almost everything that I'm going to share with you today. So please don't think that you need to go out there and buy the pro version and spend tons of money. Please don't do that, especially if you're a small business or solo entrepreneur. I'm a huge try before you buy kind of girl. So please use a free version until you've maxed it out. It's kind of like toothpaste. Imagine you're a broke college student or a new airman and you have got to borrow money from your kids' piggy banks in order to pay for gas. Confession time. I think I still owe my oldest daughter at least a good bit of her allowance back. So thanks, Bree. Thanks for all the gas money. Love you. All right. So here we go. We're going to start with strategy. So let's dig in. Like I said, I'm a systems thinker. So I love systems engineering and processes. It just makes sense to me. I know everyone's not like that. So when I first launched my consulting and coaching business, I knew that I wanted to help clients with strategy and organizational design, but I wasn't 100% sure what to do. And I scoured the internet, I took college classes, I looked through books, I read all of these different things, trying to search for tools and models that I could use for organizational growth. And there are several, I admit. So by no means is this list exhaustive, but if you're looking for a practical framework for organizational design, I'm going to recommend two models. They are the Entrepreneurial Operating System, or EOS, and Predictable Success. The EOS model, which is trademarked, includes 6 key components for any business that must be managed and strengthened. So they include things like vision, people, issues, traction, data, and processes. Okay? So that's the EOS model. There's a ton of research on it, ton of YouTubes. By all means, enjoy looking at it. But if you're looking for something really simple to define those 6 key elements that you should consider, then definitely check that one out. The second one is predictable success. And the predictable success growth model, which is also trademarked and registered, outlines 6 growth stages for an organization. It also takes 4 different types of leaders and lays them over the top of the organizational structure or where the organization is, the life cycles, and then talks about how those skills are needed at different stages of organizational growth. I personally, disclaimer, used predictable success as a scale architect when I first started my business. I love it. And so for big picture organizational growth and design, those are the 2 resources that I recommend. Of course, there are others, but those are the 2 that I prefer. So check those out. You can go online. Again, the links are in the show notes and you can check out their websites. For predictable success and for EOS, there are books that you can buy. So again, start small, pick up a book, check it out, read it, see if that model makes sense for you and your team. And then by all means, you can dive off the end of the coaching and consulting cliff if that's something you'd like to do. All successful organizations need visionary leaders and integrators. It's a basic framework. It's like food and water. Despite what your specific strengths are, you are going to benefit from learning and knowing both. Okay. So if you're not a visionary leader, then you will become more successful when you learn about a style of visionary leadership, what that looks like, what the strengths and weaknesses are. Secondarily, if you're not a visionary leader and you're more of an integrator or vice versa, maybe you are a visionary leader, right? Maybe you are one of those people who really sees opportunity and likes to big picture, grow and design. You're going to learn a lot about what it looks like to be an integrator. What does it take to get the operations going in an organization, right? What are all of those pain points that we have when we start to design or scale an organization? And so those models are great. So I recommend them both to you. And then it's always important, or it's been important for me, to find systems and tools that I can automate the process. So if I have to touch something more than 3 times, there's probably a way to automate it. And that's something that I'm always looking for. So we're going to dive into the automation and the tools that I use next. But I just wanted to make sure I gave you big picture strategy stuff so that you can use that if that's something that you and your team are struggling with or trying to figure out. So the first thing I'm going to talk about are these 2 tools that I use that are both used by Wondershare. And they're called eDraw Mind and eDraw Max. Each has different features, so this is why I use them both. One is great for mind mapping and brainstorming, and the other is really useful for diagramming, flowcharts, and creating organizational frameworks. Okay, so 2 different tools. Depends on what you're trying to do. I'm a visionary person, like I said, so these tools help me organize my thoughts, and it gives me the ability to see connections that I might have missed. I use them whenever I'm mapping out services for a client, or if they are trying to refine a process, or if they're trying to create one and they just have a bunch of different data sets or data points or things that don't seem to work together. I use these tools so that it lets me see touch points, duplication, or gaps. And then they're really great because you can share them with teams and you can collaborate with them because they're online and they're digital. So I'm just a huge advocate for anything that I can, use that can help me get all the information in one place where we can see it and then we can make decisions and we can move it around. So if that's you or that's something that you need to do even in your life, if you're a vision board person and you like to write things out and draw things out, then the eDraw Mind and eDraw Max tools might be a really great resource for you to be able to do that. So check them out. And I also have a couple of books I'm going to recommend for learning ways to do that. There's a book called Visual Collaborations and Mapping Experiences. So both of those, again, I'll put in the show notes. But if you're trying to learn models for visualizing and mapping data and information and trying to lay things flat, those are really great books as well. They're very technical, but it'll teach you the framework and that will help you understand the methodology so that you can actually use the tools a little bit better. So I'll put those out there for you. So check them out. The next thing we're going to talk about is project management. My disclaimer is that I'm a project manager with a PMP. I've been doing it for over 20 years. So I'm officially trained in how to track multi-million-dollar programs, multi-year projects, all those things. There are industry preferred tools for managing these projects, right? Like Microsoft Project or others. So if you're doing this type of PM work and you need to track things like earned value management and complex resource planning, then this isn't the tool for you, right? This is probably not your best resource. But if you're a small to mid-sized team and you want a better way to track your projects, the tasks that you're working on, and your workload allocation to your team, then this is a solution that I think would be very helpful. So ClickUp is my most favorite tool that I'm using right now with all my teams and my clients. I have 2 reasons why I've chosen it. As I said before, I'm a PM. I've done PM work for a long time. I've used Asana, I've used Trello, I've used Kanban boards, I've used Microsoft Project, and I prefer ClickUp because it has a ton of integrations, ton of APIs, and other things that make it super easy on the digital side. I love it. You can integrate it with your Google Drive or your Dropbox. You can create document libraries, and there's a ton of AI features that they have just, built in. They just came out with ClickUp 3.0, which is great. And they offer free webinars that you can watch about productivity, how you can use their AI engine to write documents. It's just amazing, I think. And it really does allow you to create teams or personalized dashboards or workspaces for your teams and for guests, because you can invite people to come in and work in your workspace and share information and collaborate. And they don't have to have a, account. You can give them a guest account, which is really cool. So I'm going to give you a practical way that I use this today. There's just a very basic practical way how I use ClickUp every day. If you go to my website and sign up for my podcast today, you're going to click the link that says guest form. And that form is embedded on my website and it's generated by ClickUp. Okay. It's better than a Google form. No offense to Google. I use Google Forms. They're fine, but I like ClickUp better for a variety of reasons. But the most important thing that I found for me is that once you fill out the form and you add your information like your headshot and your bio and all of your data and you submit it, a task is created on my ClickUp board. I get a notification on ClickUp that someone's filled out the form, and then I can view it on my ClickUp board. And your submission, when you submit that form and you hit submit, it starts a workflow that I've built inside ClickUp and the process. So I can move you through this onboarding process. I no longer have to search for emails, find your bio, look for your headshot. And as a guest moves through the process of scheduling interviews, recording them, production, social posts, all the things, then everything's right there on my dashboard. and I never lose anything, which is really good because sometimes I'm like, where is Joe's headshot, right? I need it for a social post. It's all right there in my ClickUp board. I also use it for contracting pipelines for clients or to track projects. So it doesn't have to just be something like web forms and, workflows. It can also be setting up pipelines, setting up processes, projects, tracking all your tasks and your deliverables and your due dates. So the opportunities for ClickUp are endless, and it allows for Google Calendar or Outlook integrations. And it even has a timer built in to track your time to work on a project. So it's very robust. And for a small business owner, it takes the place of like multiple other tools, right? You don't need a Clockify system and a time tracker and a project tracker and a task tracker and a document library. Like you can do it all in ClickUp, which is awesome. I love it. That's my project management tool and why I recommend it. So the next one we're going to talk about is Evernote. And this is a tool that I use literally every day. Evernote is similar to OneNote. It includes a dashboard to show you your tasks. It also integrates with your calendar, and it has a scratch pad and a note section. I particularly use Evernote for tracking notes and keeping track of all the disparate data that I gather throughout the day, right? For many of us, we make notes on our cell phone or we draft emails and then we save them in our inbox and Post-its or whatever. I capture everything in Evernote, and then one, it's all in one place. And two, I can search it by topic or tag. I can tag it with a keyword. And then if I need to go back and look for all the things that were promise related, right? Or purpose book related, then I can search and it will come up and it'll give me all the notes and things that I've taken. All the research articles that I did, they're all in there and I can quickly find them with just one keyword search. So the other reason why I love it is that there is an Evernote Chrome extension that allows you to clip a website article, a photo, or the entire site and drop it into a note very quickly. So instead of using the snipping tool or something else, I can just go over to my Evernote clipper, open up the extension in my Chrome toolbar, add the information that I want to keep. It makes an Evernote file for me, and then I can refer back to it later. And this allows me to organize all my notes in one place, which is really the biggest point or one of the biggest objectives when we have all of this data and information is that we need to be able to retrieve it very quickly, right? Instead of searching around trying to figure out, where did I put that note? Where's that guy's phone number? So I love the way how everything is integrated together. It also allows me to organize things in notebooks, which is super easy to manage. So I have a notebook for writing. I have a notebook for consulting. I have a notebook for the book I'm working on. I have a notebook for my family for things that I need to, know or keep track of. And this is just a side note. I tell my family, if something ever happens, just all the information's in my Evernote. Not all the information for sure, but a good part of things, right, are in there and they can find it quickly and easy if they need it. And everything links to the cloud. So again, security mindset, that's a whole different discussion we talk about later, but it links to the cloud. So no matter where I go, I can access it. I have it on my phone. I have it on my computer. I can log in through the web browser. So I love it. The same is true for ClickUp. So through the app, I can access my projects and my tasks on the go. And I do all the time. I'm always out and about doing something, or I need to take a note or I need to write something down and I just drop it in my Evernote. And when I get back to my desk, it's waiting for me. The other part that I really love about Evernote is the integration with a calendar, because I can use that to create meeting notes straight from the platform. So if I have a meeting with a client, it's scheduled on my calendar. When I log into my Evernote dashboard, it pops up with my calendar and it says, these are all the meetings that you have today. And it gives me an option to click on it to create a meeting note. And so if I do that, it automatically creates a meeting note template with the date, the time, and the subject of the meeting already completed and filled in. And then it creates a place for me to add notes and action items. So all I have to do is type in that note, that template while I'm in a meeting, and then it will save it. If I want to extract it or export that file when I'm done into like a Word document and send it out to my team members to say, hey, here's a record from the meeting. Here are the notes that I took. Here are the action items that we collected. I can do that. And it's super fast. It's a very useful tool if you're trying to capture lots of amounts of information and organize them in one place. So those are the main tools that I wanted to share with you today. I have had lots of conversations with people over the last year, coaching clients and mentoring clients, and they are all asking different questions. How can I be more productive in my day? How can I, make better use of my time? All of those kinds of things. And so I wanted to offer these for you today so that you could maybe think a little bit more about what productivity means for you. As we're in this new season where everybody's getting ready to do all the things, it's important for me to be able to give you the tools to help you lead yourself and others well in clarity and organization and structure and processes, even though you might not like them. all enable you to be more successful. So I know it might sound a little bit boring. I hope that it provided some value. Again, jump over to the show notes, grab those links, check them out. Let me know if you have a favorite tool. You're welcome to leave a comment, shoot me a message. I'm always looking for the latest and greatest tech to find if there's a better way for us to, be more efficient, to help us do our jobs and our tasks better. And really at the end of the day, to just give us more time, to let us live with intention, and to have the clarity and confidence that we need in order to lead ourselves and others well. So I hope you have a great day. I'll see you later. Bye. Hey friends, I know times like this, it can seem a little bit overwhelming, and this podcast today was a little bit different, right? It was kind of rapid fire, a bunch of information. So I don't want to overwhelm you. What I would say is just start small. Ask yourself if there's one tool or one process that you can set up to help you automate your day so you can save more time and be more organized. And if there's a tool or a tip that you have, be sure to share it in the show notes or the comments, or send me a DM or a chat. I'd love to hear from you, as I'm always learning and growing. If you'd like more information about how I help leaders build thriving organizations, then jump over to danitacummins.com for details. I hope you have an amazing day. I'll see you later.